So I wanted to tell you about a new discovery that has incredible implications. And this has to do with the fact, you heard how many people, what have you heard lately about, when we have all the neurons in our brain? It was 5 years old for a while. How many people know about 5 years old? Right? How many people think it's 5 years old? Someone's saying 3 years old. 23 weeks gestation. Let's hear. When do we have every last neuron that we're ever going to have? Actually, what was pretty amazing in terms of the research was a lot of new information showing that your forebrain, your frontal cortex, where you get to choose what to pay attention to, where you get to plan the most evolutionarily advanced piece of tissue, at least on the earth, the thing that separates us from the chimpanzees. We have 99% of the same DNA as the chimpanzees, but, they have a little slope up there. We get this big bulging, frontal cortex. So that last 1% has something to do with it. So our frontal cortex really finishes its development and gets laid down between the ages of 20 and 25. No wonder our teenagers are such a problem. Really explains a lot. It's a very, very long, immature animal. But what the young man in the front row called out appropriately is the answer is never. And I talk about it. Ava Mazey has discovered, she's a scientist at the NIH, and it's so against the grain that it took a tremendous amount of effort for her to prove it. Proving it and reproving it and making sure that everybody believed it. But basically what it is that since you all walked in here, did everybody eat something before they came in? Okay, good, very good. As you're sitting here on that nutrition, there are cells leaving your bone marrow, coursing through your blood, growing and changing, and they're transforming at every step of the way. Sometimes they look like white blood cells in your immune system. Then they're moving into your brain and they look like little, nobody's quite sure what to call them, microglial cells, little round cells. And then some of them are starting to branch out and make neurons, and they will eventually turn into neurons in your brain, maybe just as you sit here, maybe only a few hundred so far. Hopefully by the end of the lecture, it could even be like thousands of them. And she proved this beyond a shadow of a doubt, and it's fairly radical. But I think this is very good news, and it should make you feel good. So the first rule of feeling good is realize that you can change your mind any second. It's not, whatever all that old stuff that makes you sad and makes you guilty and makes you feel like I don't deserve and that you're not enough and you got to be more and you got to be thinner, you got to be fatter, you got to get There's a new thing I heard of. I'm very excited about it. They can suck out just your jowls. It's not even plastic surgery. Then they suck out just this little needle under your eyebrows. And then they use a laser thing to finish it off. It's not plastic surgery. No, I'm looking into it. I really am. It's my media advisors. She's checking into it first, but I plan to do it. It's this, we're not perfect. You got to be perfect. So I'm looping back here about these brain cells, because this is really a huge thing, and being perfect. Because a second point is, you ready for this? This is a second rule. This is a scientific law. Before it's over, I will explain it to you in more scientific detail. But right now, I'm just going to give it to you. Realize you're perfect. If you weren't perfect, you wouldn't be sitting in that chair, as a molecule. You're like a separate molecule in a crystal of this room. I look at it. Everybody's very still. Like the crystal, like the bonds have formed, and we're one little room full of people. You are perfect. And I was talking to Hillary Bursky, who does the XM radio Good Morning show, who I met, and talking to her on the phone the next day, we sort of bonded. And I was in a shoe store and talking with her. And she was excited about, I was basically telling her that she was perfect, that there's a cut on the CD, Psychosomatic Wellness. healing your body.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.